The rise of the metrosexual man continues at a pace. The mostly young men who spend more money on fashionable clothes, more expensive haircuts and regular programs of skincare. How have the habits and behaviours that once would have been derided as effeminate become mainstream? I'm Martin Stanford. This is Inside. Welcome to Insight. Men around the world are spending more money on fashion than ever before. Even in large Western markets such as the US, the UK and Germany, the sales of menswear has been growing at a faster pace than women's wear for the past few years. What's driving this increased trend in men's fashion? Insight's well-dressed man about town, Ty Genwright, tells us more.
In fashion capitals around the world, men are strutting their stuff. Theirs is the industry in ascendance, taking a growing share of the spotlight from women's fashion. This collection, a design debut by the British rapper Tiny Temper, inspired, he said, by the everyday man.
I got a little bit bored of just people saying I was really stylish just for wearing other people's clothes. He wore this, £800, wore this, £1,000, wore this, and I started to feel like I was a bit of a walk-in, mannequin.
Men aren't strangers to style.
What I wear is important to me. I don't tend to follow any kind of trends, but I think unconsciously I do.
But more are becoming familiar with it.
I'm not a big follower of fashion. I just like to wear what's ever comfortable.
But those glasses look very trendy.
Yeah, I mean these are great. I do love anything artisan.
The amount they're spending is growing faster than women.
Is the sense of masculinity changing?
Well, personally, I don't really understand what masculinity is. I mean, it's just that I think masculinity is like an antiquated construct that, kind of died a long time ago.
I hope in the future there'll be more, brightly vibrant coloured clothes for men. I see a lot of black jackets. I see a lot of, blue trousers, and I want purple. I want a purple jacket. I can't find them. I want purple trousers.
More of the industry is turning its focus on men.
This is our most popular boot, the Craftsman boot. And the Craftsman is a chisel toe boot with a one-piece leather.
And what kind of leather is this?
This is an ostrich leather.
And you make these to order only?
Yes, so these are bespoke made. So we fit you out. You choose the type of leather, the types of sole, the type of elastic, the pull tugs. So you basically designing your own boot.
And what is a pair of shoes like this going to set me back?
2,100.
So it's for men with expensive tastes?
With good taste, yes.
Philip Start's been designing men's fashion for most of his career. He believes guys still have to be pressured into spending.
The workplace is changing, and what was traditional in the past is changing, and in a sense men are pressured into adapting the way they dress.
But is it all about pressure? Is it not about fashion, flair, fun?
I think that fun is very much part of fashion, that's what it's all about. But I think there is a certain peer pressure at the moment for people that haven't engaged in fashion in the past to be more engaged with it.
Menswear is where the growth is. Industry analysts say that women increased their spending on fashion by 3.2% last year. For men, it was a healthier 3.7%.
It might not sound like the biggest difference, and women are still spending far more than men. But when it comes to the business world, investors are obsessed with chasing the best growth.
In addition to what we've seen over the past couple of years, menswear is actually expected to grow faster than women's over the next 5 years to 2021. So they've got a compound annual growth rate of about 2% in comparison to women's 1%, which is quite a significant amount when you're looking at a global picture.
So how are retailers, how are designers responding to this increased interest?
Men are still primarily concerned with the functionality of products, so that determines how you market towards men. You want to make sure that you're showing how products can match together, so that's a really key thing for many brands, pairing up different items together and providing full looks.
So it's about educating men.
Education is probably the key thing that's going on with the menswear. Yeah, information online, educating consumers on what they should be wearing, how they should be wearing it is definitely one of the core drivers in menswear.
Women still spend more than men, and that gap won't close soon. But as the fashion industry turns up the spotlight on guys, the pressure mounts to make an effort. Ty Genwright, reporting for Insight.
Well, to discuss that further, I'm joined by Thierry Bayle, who's the founder of Global Fashion Management, and also with us is Darren Kennedy, a TV presenter and style entrepreneur. Welcome to you both. Thierry, what came first? Did the fashion industry target men and say, let's try and push more expensive or better clothes on them? Or did men make a demand that they want to look better first?
Well, I hope we'll have the two experts to answer that question. I think, you know, the industry actually pushed, I would say, the fashion industry to men. I think men have been quite different in the way they purchase their fashion. Today, when you go in a retail store, you're going to see that the man actually is going to be buying much less often. But when he buys, he will buy much more. So actually, the average basket for a man is going to be much higher.
There's a cliche, Darren, that it used to be partners, wives, or girlfriends or something would drive a man to actually drag him into a shop. That's not the case anymore, is it?
I think, men have been liberated in terms of their style. I think that's the big thing, and I think most men today realise the importance and the value of actually looking the part. And that's the thing, we have these kind of archaic notions of a guy who's into his appearance, of being vain or, paying too much of attention to himself. But, cultural shifts, how we approach life, our lifestyles, all those things have changed. So men, I think the conversation around clothes is different. How men approach retail, how men approach the shopping experience is very different. And actually, yes, the whole cliche of women forcing their men into the shop kind of probably turns a lot of men off. But I think what men today do is they'll do a lot of research online, they'll sometimes shop online, but they'll do the research before entering the shop, so that the kind of whole experience is streamlined. So they don't necessarily...
So they still want to get it done probably a bit quicker than female counterparts.
Absolutely.
Tell me about the workplace, because I think that's driven a lot of this, isn't it? The workplace has become more informal. Time was, wasn't it? Most jobs, you turn up to work in a suit,
correct,
tie, simple. Now, you're allowed a greater choice.
Martin, I think you've spotted. It's true that ultimately today you can abandon all the suits and basically become really dressy, but in a smart, casual way. And that, I think, is a big difference in the menswear fashion industry, is the opportunity for the man really to take his own image and make it a real statement in a casual way. So it's true that has helped the men, I would say.
That's more complicated because there's greater choice now, isn't
there?
Well,
absolutely, and that's kind of maybe forcing men in some respects to kind of face up to what they actually want to wear, what they want to say about themselves, and kind of that individualistic flair. Because previously, you worked in an office the majority of your week, you had 5 suits, you were sorted, you only had to think about the weekend. Now it's like 7 days, you're faced every morning with a wardrobe that you kind of need to work for you, it needs to be multifunctional, all those items have to have different layers and different purpose.
The sort of ability to mix and match.
Exactly,
I mean, just as we're borrowing from our women folk, right?
And I think that's the thing, though. I think, yes, men are shopping less. Maybe we're spending less at the moment. I do believe that's changing. But, men, I think, are sometimes, and I'm not going to generalize here, but maybe a little bit more discerning when it comes to the purchases. They will spend more, they're very brand loyal, but also they'll want a curated wardrobe that they know they can rely on and intermix easily.
And where does the whole sporting, healthy, keep fit touch into this? Because there's a sort of overlap in the casual market, isn't there? Or in going out at the weekend market, where sportswear is beginning to touch casual wear and make an influence there.
I think it's true that ultimately we want to look good. I think men is catching up very much on women trying, to bring maybe more, healthy and fit into the equation. So it's true that today you're going to be having an opportunity to dress, I would say casually, but you're going to be bringing an element of comfort and sports element to the equation. Yeah.
And that keep fit mantra is now really alive, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's all interlinked. I mean, there's no point having gorgeous clothes if the hanger underneath isn't doing its job. And you know, you look at kind of cultural icons that have really helped shift menswear and our attitudes towards fashion. I mean, David Beckham being probably the most obvious global style icon. You know, he's a fit guy. He takes care of his appearance. He's not overly preened, shall we say, but yet you can tell everything is done with intention.
Is this just the exclusive, though, of the affluent and the well-off? Or is this actually reaching down to other sectors of the market where men, for whatever reason, don't want to spend that much money or can't afford to spend that much money?
I think, obviously, if you look at somebody like Tom Ford, who added, you know, that maybe whole set of beauty products and grooming products for men, I think there's still today a lot of companies, I don't know whether we want to mention names today, but whether it's going to be just L'Oreal, who's going to provide, you know, the man with a whole grooming and beauty products, which will ultimately help him feel better and ultimately look his best. And so
Is it changing priority here as well? I mean, at one time, the cliched male status symbol was having a nice car or a car that would impress or whatever. Is that now less important, and actually looking good day to day and what you put on your body is
absolutely
as important?
Yeah, there's been a shift. You know, it's about what you're wearing as opposed to what you're driving necessarily. I mean, I think the generation that's really into their appearance are less concerned about ownership and more about usage. So, you know, it's not about owning the flash car. Okay, at the weekend, maybe I'll rent one because I want to use it. But it's about, you know, those everyday interactions. And I don't think it's just about money. I think that, you know, there's great value to be had in the high street. I know, like, probably the biggest brand, certainly, you know, in Western Europe for men, I think is probably Nike. You know, it's one of the biggest sellers, closely followed by H&M. And they're not, you know, H&M specifically is a very value-orientated brand. You know, and you can go to the higher ends with your Tom Fords and all this, but it's not just driven on income.
OK, you mentioned about grooming. We're going to talk about that in just a second, because when Insight continues in a moment, men are spending more time and more money on their skincare regime. We'll talk about why next.